financial problems, elder law, criminal law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by THAV GROSS. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Today's topic, how to solve tax and debt issues. Brian Small, good morning.
Good morning, Ken. Always a pleasure to be here. Tax and debt issues, right up our alley. Good stuff.
Jeff, are you game for some tax talk?
More than game, Ken. Good morning.
All right, so I'm going to break down the issues here first. Before we get into a case study, I want to talk about debt problems, alternatives, and then tax problem alternatives. So Brian, start us out. Debt problem alternatives. What's our basket of options that we have to resolve debt?
Well, it's great, Ken. We actually have a really nifty name for it too. It's all called financial crisis management. See, the thing about it is has a financial problem. They have a financial crisis. They don't know what to do. And when you call up a law firm that does bankruptcy, the only thing that person will get talked to about is a bankruptcy. And that might be their solution. But we have a litany of tools in our tool chest to address those financial problems. We do look at bankruptcy, Chapter 7 and Chapter 13 bankruptcy, Subchapter 5 of Chapter 11, which is small business reorganization bankruptcy.
What is that for?
So right now, if you own a small business and it's struggling and it can't pay its bills and you need to reorganize, instead of it being a super complicated Chapter 11 like General Motors went through, there's a small subset of Chapter 11 called Chapter 5 that is designed to help businesses that do less than $7.5 million a year of business.
So let's think about businesses that have been affected by COVID. Cleaners, gyms, restaurants, all the businesses that are really taking the hit. Would they be eligible for this type of a remedy?
Absolutely. And it's a simplified process, very similar to the Chapter 13 bankruptcy for individuals, but it's made for businesses. And it's absolutely being utilized all over the country right now, and it's helping save businesses from going under.
All right, so what other things you got? I didn't mean to interrupt.
In the basket, to speak. I understand. In the tool basket, we've got debt resolution also, which is settling your debts for pennies on the dollar. The difference is that it's not like the debt settlement firms that you see advertising at 4 o'clock in the morning on TV. What we do is we analyze what can be done. We recognize that it has to be done between 12 and 24 months instead of a 4-year program. We put you in a position where we're going to negotiate a settlement of your debt. We're going to aggressively do it. And unlike those debt settlement firms, if you get sued, we represent you. It's included in our representation of you because we know that it gives us somebody on the other side to negotiate with.
So debt resolution is a solution outside of bankruptcy?
Absolutely. It's a solution.
Bankruptcies, Chapter 7 and 13. The Subchapter 5 of Chapter 11 is for the business.
Yep.
What else you got? Anything?
Oh, I got plenty more. How about I can make you bulletproof?
What do you mean?
Okay, so we all know
steel shield to walk around with instead of a plastic screen.
Kind of, sort of. There's legal solutions that are out there to keep you uncollectible. Sometimes we're not interested in paying the debt, and sometimes we're not able to file a bankruptcy. Yet you want to live, eat, sleep, breathe, and go about your life without your creditors coming after you every second of the day. So just like superheroes are bulletproof, what we do is we turn our clients into quote unquote superheroes by making them uncollectible, using lots of different legal tools that are out there to make that person not be able to be garnished, not be able to be collected upon, and to let them live and eat and sleep and be happy.
Got it. Is that it? You got anything else?
Of course that's not it. There's lots more. But we have budget management. Sometimes it's really just understanding how to live within your means. And what we do there is we counsel clients on how to do exactly that, getting more satisfaction out of the spending that they do and eliminating the waste in their budget. And that is an intensive program that we work with the client directly, and we find their solution. And that's just, yet again, one more tool we have in the toolbox, along with, say, even student loan solutions, how to get yourself and your student loans under control so that you aren't buried in that student loan debt.
All right, so you got a lot of alternatives on the debt side, and then we're going to come up to a break, and I want to cover tax alternatives in now and break. Jeff, give me the list of your solutions that you have for tax problems.
For tax problems, our toolkit consists of, one, some of the taxes can be discharged in bankruptcy, so it's a little bit circular. Those that can't, we can get you an offer in compromise. There's innocent spouse relief for some people if one spouse is the cause of the debt but not the other. There are collection alternatives. There's not collectible status.
Whoa. What do you mean innocent spouse? There's no such thing as an innocent spouse.
Maybe in your house. But
how does it work for taxes?
For an innocent spouse, if let's say the one spouse is the business owner and they don't pay their payroll taxes and they generate all the tax liability, and the other spouse has no involvement in the finances, doesn't benefit from that money, doesn't do the taxes, there are some circumstances where we can get the innocent spouse, the one that wasn't involved in creating the tax liability, protected from having to be liable for it.
All right, so there's a remedy for the innocent spouse in that situation that's particular to that fact pattern. Let's take a break. We come back, we'll talk about the other alternatives on tax, and then we'll do a case study.
COVID-19 presents a fight for our personal and business financial survival. You have to make choices. Cash is critical. Do you tap your retirement, home equity line, or run up the credit cards? You need the right plan to avoid being wiped out, and you need it now. You can't rely on the government or banks. Call us. We're the experts in financial crisis. We are here for you and your business in the Great Recession, and we're here for you now. We'll create a plan and get through this together. THAV GROSS will solve your problem.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP. If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
I love you too. Bye-bye. That was Jerry. Emma just said her first word.
Oh.
Jerry says hello and they'll be over soon.
Who's Jerry? Is he a friend of yours?
No. This Jerry. Our Jerry. And this is his wife and their little girl.
You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirshner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Okay, we're back. All right, so you explained to me innocent spouse, but we kind of jumped ahead of offer and compromise. Is offer and compromise what we always see on TV as being settling for pennies on the dollar?
Yes, that's the program.
I would like to do that for my 2021 taxes.
For your 2021 taxes?
Yeah, I just instead of paying the taxes this year, I would like to just settle for pennies on the dollar, and instead of giving them this humongous amount of money for taxes, I'd like to just pay $500. Is that how that works?
No. It depends. Here's after all law school, I'll give you the answer they taught us in law school.
What's that movie? That I'm done with you? What's that, Brian? What is that?
Oh, no, that's you'll get nothing. Good day, sir.
Good day, sir. It's Willy Wonka. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
All right, so that won't work.
The offer and compromise, it can work that way if you meet the criteria. It's formulaic. It's a special program that if you really can't afford to pay your debt and you meet the certain criteria on income and expense calculation, then the IRS will take less than you owe in satisfy your debt on the condition that you play ball, that you file on time and you don't owe taxes for the remaining 5 years after they accept your offer. So you have to meet the criteria or it doesn't work.
But this happens after you owe the taxes. You can't settle for taxes ahead of time. I can't say I'm going to settle for my 21 taxes now. Here's $500.
No, and in fact, remember that the IRS has 10 years to collect from you when they assess from you. So they look at that, and if there's any way that they could let you take the full 10 years and get more money from you than what you would get in the offer and compromise, they're going to take the we want more money approach every time.
All right, so is this a fair statement? The offer and compromise does work, but it works where you don't have any significant equity in a home, you're not sitting with any significant cash in the bank, you don't have an IRA or a 401k. In that scenario, if you're making modest income, you can usually settle for a very small amount.
Yes.
Okay. This is something people don't realize. There's zillions of people out there that owe $10,000, $20,000 worth of taxes, and that's bearing them. And really, they could qualify for an offer and compromise. It's a great program. But if you got $100,000 in your IRA, they're not going to settle a $20,000 tax debt for $500.
Yeah, but Ken, here's the reality.
Right?
Yeah, no.
There's a reality here. The reality is simple. When people come in to see us, for the most part, they've already made every single mistake they humanly can. They've cleared out their IRAs. They've borrowed all the money against their house. And they're in debt, not just to the IRS. If they owe Uncle Sam, they owe Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover, and payday loans on top of it. It's reached the point where people are looking for a solution.
Thank you for that commercial there, Mr. Now I want to get back to I want to get back to what I want to talk about. I'm just kidding. Point well taken. Is that I know you can also do installment payment arrangements and so forth, Jeff. Going with what Brian said into kind of a bigger picture, long-term financial goals. To me, what we talk about all the time on the show, you want to have zero debt and you want to have some savings. at the point of retirement. If you accomplish those three things, you're guaranteed a safe retirement where you'll have sufficient income to live and be comfortable. It's not that hard to do, but it does require some planning. Now I want to shift over and I want to do a case study. Greg and Amanda. Greg is self-employed. He's an insurance agent. Amanda's an administrative assistant. Income. Greg's varies. In a good year, he makes 125. In a lean year, he goes down to around 70. Amanda's income is steady, $48,000 a year. Their current annual income this year now is running around $118,000. Greg is having a lean year. Their assets, they have a nice house, $425,000 market value. They have a first mortgage of $350,000, a second mortgage of $40,000. Amanda has $25,000 in a 401k. They got $5,000 cash in the bank. They have liabilities. They got $80,000 of credit card debt. Not only that, Greg has tax problems. Amanda always files separate from him because her wages are coming through her W-2 and she has withholding. Greg files himself. He owes $12,000 from 19, $12,000 from 18, $10,000 from 17, and $10,000 from 16. Now, before we get into their budget, does it make sense for them to file married filing separate in that scenario, Jeff?
Absolutely, because it prevents Amanda from being personally liable on Greg's tax liabilities.
See, Greg knows he's always got this. He's always behind on his taxes. You don't want to infect Amanda with that problem because she has withholding. Keep her solvent. So they did the right thing when it comes to that. Now let's look at their budget. Their net income is around $7,500 a month. Their mortgage, $1,950 on the first, $350 on the second. Those credit cards are killing them at $2,000 a month. Their other expenses, including payments to IRS of $1,500 a month, their total expenses come to $9,250 a month. They have net income negative $1,750. I need Brian and Jeff together to figure out what are we going to do about the debt? What are we going to do about the taxes? Brian, I'm going to give you 20 seconds to start before we take a break.
Well, they're going to be a bankruptcy candidate, and they're going to be a Chapter 13 bankruptcy because they have too much income and they do have excess income over their expenses when you remove the variables such as credit card payments and the payment to the IRS.
When we come back from the break, I want you to explain what you mean by that.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP.
You're all set to retire. You have your home paid off, money in the bank, and sound investments. But if you're not careful, all the things that you work so hard for can disappear. At Samasco Financial, we'll help you prevent that. We go beyond ordinary asset management. We'll safeguard everything that you have by creating a plan made specifically for you. How much can you afford to lose? Nothing. Protect the people that you love and the things that you have. Call Samasco Financial today.
Time for announcements. I want to remind our viewers to listen to us for Law and Reality Live on the Praise Network, Tuesdays, 10 o'clock a.m. and Saturdays, 7 o'clock a.m. And then on KISS 105.9, Sundays, 7:30 a.m. every week. Law and Reality is happy to announce a free webinar. Stay in your home, attend our webinar via the internet. You can watch it at the time of your choice and at your convenience. Just go to thavgross.com or lawandreality.com on the homepage, click webinar, and you'll be taken right to the webinar, and you'll have Brian, myself, and Jeff Linden presenting to you. We're going to talk about how to eliminate your debt and get a fresh start and live debt-free for 2021. Remember, to be free, you must be debt-free. We'll address all the methods that we use to preserve future income, get rid of the debt so that you can start saving money in the bank rather than giving your money to the bank. There'll be a special segment on small businesses facing debt and closure issues, learning your best options of when to use bankruptcy and when not to file bankruptcy. Attendees get a free copy of my book, Dump Your Debt. You can always come in to THAV GROSS for a free consult. We're doing teleconferences, phone conferences, as well as proper social distancing for in-office meetings. Whichever you prefer, we can accommodate. You want to call 888-235-HELP or go online to sign up. Debt issues, tax issues, estate planning issues, business issues, elder law issues with Pat, disability issues with Jeffrey Kirshner, criminal law issues with Scott Weinberg. Just reach out to us. We're happy to help you. When you come in and you get a free consult, it's not a meet and greet. It's an analysis of your problem with a specific developed plan as to the best and optimal solution to that problem, so you know what your options are and you know how to implement a plan to resolve the problem. Also, take a look at the free reports that are online. Resolving Tax Problems, The Real Solution by myself and Jeff Linden, How to Save Your Home from Foreclosure, Business Formations, Loans and Grants for Small Businesses in Detroit and Michigan, and also the Retiree's Guide from Social Security from Pat Samasco. I want to thank our sponsors, THAV GROSS, Samasco Law, Kirshner Law. Now back to the show.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
COVID-19 presents a fight for our personal and business financial survival. You have to make choices. Cash is critical. Do you tap your retirement, home equity line, or run up the credit cards? You need the right plan to avoid being wiped out, and you need it now. You can't rely on the government or banks. Call us. We're the experts in financial crisis. We were here for you and your business in the Great Recession, and we're here for you now. We'll create a plan and get through this together. THAV GROSS will solve your problem.
Okay, we're back. All right, so Brian, you said they have to be a 13 because of blah, 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 blah. Would you do me a favor and explain what blah, 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 blah meant?
So they have, when you look at their budget, and if you magically eliminated the credit card debt and the tax debt, they would have a positive cash flow instead of a negative cash flow, because they're sending $3,500 a month to the credit cards and the IRS, and $1,750 is their negative. So their positive cash flow is $1,750. Okay,
that means they're a Chapter 13.
They would be a Chapter 13. They would repay some of the debt over a period of 3 to 5 years. In this case, it's a 5-year program because they make above the median income.
But probably zero on the credit cards because it would have gone to the taxes, right?
To a certain extent, the unsecured creditors in this situation would get some, because a portion of their tax debt is actually dischargeable and would be treated just like a credit card. So,
Jeff, how do the taxes work?
So taxes that were due more than 3 years ago, you had filed your return 2 years ago, and the IRS has not assessed you in the last 240 days, which is about 8 months, are dischargeable. If you don't fall into those criteria, then the bankruptcy is not going to help you with the tax debt.
All right, so
that's an incorrect statement. The Chapter 13 bankruptcy can help you whether or not the taxes are dischargeable or not. a certain portion of those taxes have to be paid back in full if they are less than 3 years old. If they're more than 3 years old and you haven't complied with that rule, they will just survive the discharge of the bankruptcy, but you can keep them at your heels for a long time.
Jeff was just referring to dischargeability, but what are the years then in this case, Jeff? Is 2019 dischargeable?
No.
What about
2019
18?
doesn't meet
When would 18 be dischargeable?
18 is going to be dischargeable in April of 2022.
Okay,
Unless
so
you
we
filed
can
an
discharge,
extension.
Unless they filed for an extension, in which it would be October.
and we can get rid of 17 and 16, right?
Right.
Okay, all right, so let's look at, so if I'm putting up the chart here, and if I get rid of, if we do this process, Brian, in the bankruptcy at the end of the Chapter 13, we'll have 0 credit card payments, even during the Chapter 13. We're going to still have some payment. I popped in $500 as a payment to IRS for the tax.
We won't.
That's going to be gone as well.
Yes, because the IRS will have been paid in full on the 2018 and 2019 taxes, and even the 2020 taxes if there's a liability.
Right. So at the end of the year, at the end of the Chapter 13, we're going to be $1,750 plus per month.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That's outstanding. Let me ask you the question that always comes up, and tell me if it even should come up. But what about my credit score?
No, don't ask that question. It shouldn't come up. It's irrelevant. Because at
Let
this
me ask
point,
another question. Will bankruptcy ruin me long term?
no, it won't either. The reality is it's really straightforward. As you get rid of the debt, even in the Chapter 13, your credit score will be improving over time. Clients are able to get, while they're in Chapter 13, car loans. We can even get them a credit card sometimes. The reality is, and they can borrow money from banks at times. The reality is that once you're on a path to eliminate your debt, you become a good risk to the bank on a going forward basis. And that helps your credit score heal, which it always does.
All right, let me give a concluding comment on that, because I completely agree with you on the credit score, and bankruptcy is not a long-term problem for you at all. Go back to the financial plan. Your goal is to get to retirement with a house that's fully paid for, 0 debt, and cash in the bank. You need to look to the long-term goal when you manage your finances in your life, because that's what is important. You don't want to end up worrying about your credit score, paying interest all your life, and you get to be 65 and you owe $300,000 on your mortgage, you got 2 car payments, you got no cash in the bank, and you owe $50,000 on your credit cards. You're not going to have a retirement if that happens. You need to plan and make the right moves. If you do, you'll be well rewarded for it. Have a great week. Thanks, Brian. Thanks, Jeff. We'll be back next week with Law and Reality.